Hello, and welcome to Come the Revolution, a podcast wherein I, Rob Hughes, and my co-host, Rob Koo, talk with a different guest in each episode and place them as the leader of a brave new world following a global revolution. This time we're talking to writer and comedian Col Howarth. Will he dress us all in boiler suits and put us to bed at 10 p.m, or will he channel all our money into the space programme? Join us now as we prostrate ourselves before our new leader and beg for his mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, Mr. Col Howarth. Col, hello.
How you doing?
I'm alright, how are you,
yeah,
my
good.
esteemed leader?
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, there's no need. You can stand up now. You don't have to. You don't have to bow down. No, Brave New World, interesting. We'll explore that. But I'm fine, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Introducing my friend Rob.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
So, Col, you are now the leader of our brave new world following the post-global revolution. You are now the leader of our brave new world following a global revolution.
Great.
Are you going to do things differently?
Oh, yeah.
What needs to change?
Things will be different around here.
Heads are going to roll.
Yeah. No, I mean, that did sound like I was being brave. Brave New World, yeah, strong word, but no. I've never been in a position of authority. I barely make my own mind up. So this is going to be a nice new world.
Can I tell you, Col, make the most of it, because at the end, this is a new twist to the podcast. We will be deciding whether to allow you to continue your reign or whether we will stage a coup.
And if you stage a coup, do you just match me outside and shoot me?
We haven't gone that far yet.
Okay, but you never know. It's new, isn't it?
See how much you anger me. But, yeah, so prior to the revolution, we all know what kind of shit show was in situ.
Yeah.
Westminster,
Oof.
et al.
Yeah.
What system are you going to go with?
Westminster is now flats.
Okay.
No. I don't know actually.
Well, there's already people sleeping there.
Yeah. I thought about this, and I'm not the sort of person who I don't think I've got it in me to rule with an iron fist. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I want people to. This is going to sound sickly now, but I do want people to be happy generally. I don't.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's a good quality in a leader, I think.
Yeah, and again, I was thinking of this as well, where a leader, yes. An enabler. I'd like to think that I might help people to achieve ambitions, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, for clarity and for your peace of mind, you don't have to be a tyrant.
Okay.
You can be as nice as you like. You don't have to kill anyone. You can.
But it helps.
You can. If you want to bring back the death penalty, you can. If you want to soften the prison system, you can. It's your world, Col.
It's good, isn't it? Because like a debate like this, where you're looking
it's
at...
not a debate, you're in charge.
Okay, it's not a debate, it's just happening. Okay, write this down.
I want to test this theory that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I'm sure it will. I mean, I've been looking at a mobile home in Treco Bay. I mean, I'm going to have a second home by the beach. So,
do you think, Rob, we're going to need to debrief him after the recording?
Yeah.
Just remind him that when he goes home, he's not king of the world.
It's just me.
We've just made it up.
Yeah. I'll be sending my kids to bed at 10 in boiler suits. I do. I think there is an absolute mess, and I think I would want to bring it back down to a cultural level, and this is the debate that's been going on in my head. And by the way, I know I've said this to you already, but not on the record. But I have lost sleep over this. So thanks for inviting me on. Yeah, because it's quite a question, isn't it? You're now the leader of the free world. What are you going to do? How's that going to look?
It's quite the cross to bear. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I enter into my stand-up comedy side and just go, yeah, free chips for everybody, or do I take it more seriously than that? I can't, So I think, and the other part of the problem for me is when we talk about governance and people and culture and stuff, we're talking about big, wide sweeps of a brush, whereas actually policies very rarely take into account individual differences, and I don't know how you get everybody on side enjoying themselves, hitting their ambitions, doing all the things that they want to do.
Well, I think Jeremy Corbyn tried that, didn't he?
He did,
he was reading out those letters in Westminster, sort of Maureen from Axminster.
Yeah, so that's where I'm stuck. It's like I'm gonna talk about policy and the way forward, but I realise that some people won't be happy with that, and you've also got to put some kind of you've got to stop at a certain level. If somebody said, "Hey, I'd love to be a serial killer," you got to say soz, but great to have ambition, but
I don't want to put ideas in your head, Cole, but the first thing that springs to my mind, if it's difficult to take into individual preferences because there's so many people, there could be less people.
Yeah, I mean, what would you do? I mean, who's caused this revolution? What's it a revolution? What is it opposing? I mean, there are certain. I mean, I sit kind of on the left of these things. That's why I'm talking about people.
It's basically what I'm asking you, Cole. It's your party. Are you throwing anyone out?
Yeah, I mean, the Tories have got to go. Yeah. They've got to go. I mean, the old guard, the old Tory guard.
Where are they going to go?
In the sea. I just think this is the whole change that I want to make, is that I think that and I don't think it's a global thing. I think nationally, potentially, and perhaps again in the Western world, we've grown up believing that success is about sort of one-upmanship, for want of a better word. It's about striving. It's about financial success makes you successful.
We are bred to compete.
We are, yes. Yeah. Now I mentioned again, like today, I've been to Tavoil, right, which is the celebration of Welsh culture and language in Cardiff, right? That's happened today. And I went to that festival because the Welsh government funds the arts, it funds community, it funds music, it funds expression, it sort of preserves the language it's proud of, right? And I came away thinking about this, thinking that's the kind of thing I would like to promote, is because at the moment things like the arts are being cut. There's a debate about that, about take all the money away from that, put all the money into business, finance, striving for money and commercial success.
You're absolutely right. I can't remember which politician it was, and I can't remember exactly what they said, so it's going to be one hell of a quote from me. But there was somebody talking a few years ago about how the arts weren't important, and they wanted kids in primary school to study business and banking in primary school.
I know. I mean, this hits a little chord with me because
you should be making pictures of your mum and dad out of pasta.
Yeah. I mean, all of that strikes a bit of a chord with me personally, because when I was young, I wanted to be a writer. I always wanted to be a writer. But when it came to choosing my career and sort of having conversations with people who could set me on that path, everyone, it's really weird. Everyone I spoke to said, "You want to be a writer? It's not the most common of career paths. Why don't you go over there and do business studies?" And I was like, I know. And as a kid, I was just like, all right then.
I had a similar thing with a careers advisor, because it wasn't writing, it was animation.
Yeah.
And I was told it wasn't a realistic career choice. And they hadn't seen any of my work, so it wasn't based on my lack of talent, which I could understand in hindsight. But they said it wasn't a realistic career choice, and I wasn't even prompted to go into banking or business. I think it was top man.
That's a lofty ambition, isn't it?
Top man.
As a sales, like retail sort of.
Yeah, retail.
Sir.
Yeah. Although to be honest, with my own background and my own upbringing, that did seem quite a lofty aspiration because you got to wear a suit to work, and
exactly. Yeah.
In my mind, if you wore a suit to work, you were really somebody.
That is almost the same for me, because when I did work experience at high school, I worked in John Lewis in Manchester, literally in the clothing
highfalutin John Lewis.
Yeah. So I guess the point I was making when I was talking about community and stuff is that sort of overarching. I think there should be more of a celebration of community. People should be able to come together under the sort of commonalities and stuff, and to celebrate that, rather than to be going like, you've got to be better than that person. You've got to win at all costs.
I think it's a lovely sentiment. There was a story, an anecdote by Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh yeah,
who said he was one of the most moving experiences of his life was when somebody asked him what he did in his spare time, and he said he wrote stories and painted pictures and whatnot, and he said, but I'm not very good. And the person said to him, it doesn't matter that you're no good. The important thing is that you do it and you create and you enjoy it. As soon as you start trying to do something because you want to be better than someone else, you take the joy out of it.
I'd say this to people all the time because I'm a musician, and people think I make pleasant noises, and they say, "Oh, I'll never be as good as you," or whatever. But I say, just do it for the sake of doing it.
Exactly, do for the sake of doing it.
I find a lot of these TV series at the moment that take an art or a craft, like pottery or music or whatever, and then make it into a competition. I find that extremely strange. Well, how competitive cake making, competitive pot throwing.
It would be a long series if they didn't, though. This week, no one's leaving again.
No, they're all having a lovely time.
And we can turn that conversation
the Great British Bake-On.
Bacon, Great British Bacon,
and on.
We can talk about stand-up in a similar way, really, can't we?
Yes.
Because,
yes.
I mean, one of the things that I got.
Do you think that's competitive?
I mean, again, on a personal level,
still got the scars on my throat.
Yeah, on a personal level, I'd say that one of the things that got to me was the fact that I wanted to be doing better. And equally, the reason I did it in the first place was to kind of, on a very personal level, was to overcome a fear of public speaking. Right, I did that for that very reason, and did it. Enjoyed it.
You did it very well, might I say.
Well, thank you very much. And I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to do it again and again and again. And then all of a sudden, something came into it, which was kind of like, there was a lot of comparison going on. Yeah. That said, I don't want that to be disparaging of the local comedy community, because it is also very supportive as well.
You can't see it, but he's making the wanker gesture.
There must be some right bastards, though. Are there bastards in the comedy scene?
In comedy? Oh, absolutely.
Are there? Name names, then.
No. But no, there are some, as in every industry, every profession, I think. And
overly pushy arseholes.
I'm sure there are in the musician world.
Oh, God, yeah.
In the art world, in the literary world. I think that's true out of all the arts, I suspect. But comedy, I'm probably a little bit more aware of it being in the eye of the storm, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing as well, just to take that conversation a bit further, when you read, sometimes you'll get an article online, and it'll say something like the 5 happiest places to live on Earth.
Yeah.
And quite often those places are the same places. And I think, I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's true that quite often what comes up is Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Right? Copenhagen is often cited as being one of the happiest places in the world, and my sister-in-law lives in Copenhagen, and by all accounts, people in Denmark, that is where it is, right? Yeah.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
I thought it was near Splot.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's it. Apparently in Denmark, people don't think as individual sort of runners in a race. They think of a team. So Team Denmark, everybody helps each other. And helps each other to do well and to sort of progress. There's no such thing as, I'm going to be first, I'm going to win. It's all very much a team sport. And so is that part of the trick? Is that what it is? Celebrating?
You've lost me, man.
Really, have I?
I'm trying to picture sports. You're not
In
cheering.
Denmark.
Yeah, you're not cheering someone else's kid.
It's a 12-legged race.
That would be entertaining.
All across the line together.
Yeah.
There has to be an element of competition.
There has to be. You think there's got to be, but I think ultimately, culturally, they celebrate being Danes as a sort of a common sort of thing that they.
That's when they're competing against other countries.
Yeah. But that's my understanding, and I think there's a lot to be said for that, and that is why I would probably start from culture. Maybe it's in an educational level, but I would try and find out what it is. Mirror Tav oil, possibly. Some people don't like Tav oil, but that principle of bringing people together to celebrate what makes them great.
I do like the idea, and I think it's good that people can unify and work cohesively, but I also think some competition is healthy.
Yeah.
Because people like to win. I mean, it's not chess. I've been playing this game I can't pronounce, but it's called Viking chess.
Yeah, you did very well pronouncing it there, to be honest.
Nefedaful or something it's called. I don't know. Google it. But it's good. It's similar. It's not similar to chess, other than the fact it's played on a board. But then it has two different sets of pieces, and you've got one king who's protected by this group in the middle, and you have these attacking players on the outside of the board, and they have to ambush the king. And you remove players by sandwiching them and blah, 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 blah. But it would be no good if neither of us tried to win.
And you say that's a Viking thing as well. So we're talking maybe all this stuff that I'm reading in the online is just marketing. They're just telling us that they're the happiest place on earth and winning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did go there to Denmark once, and I had a lovely time, actually. They kept bringing me free things backstage.
Do you know what I mean?
I was doing
All
the
right.
gig. Yeah.
Free things.
Free
Put
things.
that in.
Alcoholic free things, largely, but also chocolates and sandwiches. How could he not be happy in that kind of situation?
You were performing in Denmark.
I was, yeah.
You weren't just
No, they don't do this
just
to everybody.
backstage hanging around.
No, I was performing.
Right.
Stealing. It wasn't free stuff, you just stole it.
Hanging out in Tesco's.
Okay, so I'm going to push you a little bit there, Cole.
Okay.
You want to run with this idea that people will work cohesively and in unison. What are you going to do with those people that don't? Because I'll tell you now, some won't.
I know, yeah. Sorry, people. No, I agree. I know that. And again, this goes back to the point I was saying about individual differences.
Are you worried about being recorded, sort of advocating genocide?
That would worry me, yeah. I mean, that's not what I'm advocating.
Disclaimer: this is all very light-hearted.
Yeah, yes.
And any professions towards genocide are purely hypothetical.
Purely for fun.
Yeah.
Genocide. No, I understand that. I think wrapped up in all of that idea is just this kind of principle of helping people to celebrate what they are, what they do, their ambitions, and whether they want to do that on their own, that's fine. You know, I just want people to be able to just to be happy. You know, and I'm going to make it a law. That's
what I want. That's what I'm pushing for. It's going to be a law.
It is.
They get on board with your ethos.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Or if they don't like it, keep it to themselves.
No, I don't know how to. I don't really know how to capture those people. Obviously, but you know, get on board. That's what I would be just like. That's the camp. Are you going
to have a group of henchmen that kick the shit out of anybody that doesn't cooperate with your...
Or henchwomen, Rob.
Or hench people.
It's the 21st century, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, God.
Don't call me man.
I'd say, I don't know. I think... Oh, Rob, come on. I'm going. No. I think... No, I think people should have the element of choice. Obviously, I can't. But and this is going to lead me on to my next thing, right? But I couldn't.
I'm a leader, not a tyrant. That's the slogan, isn't it?
I'm a leader, not a tyrant. I'm an enabler. I just want people to love life and each other. No, I just
know if you set this lovely example.
Yeah.
Perhaps these other stragglers will eventually follow suit. They'll see how well it works.
Exactly.
I think it's a great idea, and if this law was in place, I would volunteer to be a henchman. I think not because I like violence, but because it's just a good look, isn't it? Really.
I just want to remind you, in case you can't remember, that when Rob was in the hot seat, he was going to line people up against the wall and give them a damn good talking.
Yeah. It was more like a primary school where you line them up against the wall for being naughty and don't come back until you've learned what you've done wrong.
So I think you fundamentally misunderstood the role of the henchman.
I think what I want to do is just dress up as a henchman.
Yeah, you can dress for a henchman if you want.
You could do that, yeah, you could. I mean, that kind of leads me on as well to sort of the role of the bully in society, which I'm not a fan of bullying. I wasn't bullied, luckily, but I know a lot of people who were. You see it now in the workplace. You see it all over. You see it on a sort of political level. Bullying is out for me.
I've got 2 teenage sons. I see it at home.
Well, you need to stop bullying them, don't you?
So, will you be operating a similar system to Westminster? Will you? I mean, here's a question for you, Cole. Will you be giving your people an opportunity to oust you?
I've got to, haven't I? I've got to.
You haven't got to.
No, then. Yeah, but when if you've got to do things sort of democratically, this is the thing, because otherwise you're going against that very premise, aren't you? It's not democratic.
Back where you started, though, Cole.
It's got to be democratic, or
the revolution would have been for nothing.
Yeah. Well, no. At least I'll have given it a shot, and I could have said to all those careers advisors, they were wrong. I've done something with my life. That's all. It's about me, really.
Okay, so you're going to keep a kind of electoral ballot system in place, and
you've got to give people the right to ask for things to be done in a certain way.
Okay.
Only I would rule for 20 years. I said rule.
20-year term.
Sorry. Yeah, 20-year term. Okay. Yeah.
So it's getting to him now. Rule, he said.
I meant lead.
Make a note of that.
20 years, because I think by then I'll be really tired.
Laws.
Yeah.
Are you going to introduce any new ones?
I think yes. Things. There are things that I don't like. I'm gonna create some laws against. They might even exist.
Okay.
Bullying, I've mentioned.
Yeah.
No bullying.
I'm on board.
Yeah, I don't know how I put that in place, but bullying, wrong. No, thank you.
I think there's probably got to be a certain amount of irony involved with
there is
enforcing the non-bullying.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. That I think the whole thing is totally hypocritical at this stage. But no bullying, littering. There is a law against it, but I would tighten up.
Do not get me started.
Yeah. You love littering, don't you?
No, I do not. I live in Barry.
Yeah.
So obviously we have a lovely beach. We have a couple of lovely beaches in Barry, and after the bank holidays, especially, or any sunny days, really, you go and it is like a landfill site down there.
Yeah.
Because these people are savages, and they do not deserve the air that they breathe.
It's a very different world you're building there, Rob.
Yeah.
Someone will have to get you in the hot seat one day.
That's why I'm not in charge. There'll be no one left.
Yeah,
It'll just be me on my beach by myself.
I mean, it comes down to respect as well. And I think, and again, if we're going to respect each other and respect the place where we live and all of that stuff, I think littering is just laziness. It's just it sort of wraps up with things like manners, but I don't mean that in a Victorian sort of manners. I mean just doing things because you're proud of where you are and because
be like that.
and to consider other people and stuff like that.
I worked with some students at one point doing conservation work, Just it was supposed to make them litter less in their area, because Cathays in Cardiff, where the students live,
Oh dear God.
is like a shanty town in many ways. You know, you're stepping over rotting food in the street and stuff.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a woman from the university.
Even the seagulls tut.
And I spoke to a woman from the university and said, "What do they do it?" And they said they just don't understand bins. It was purely down to stupidity.
But there are also people, aren't there? There are also people who say, put more bins out and then things will be cleaner. It's just like, no, just take your stuff home with you.
Yeah.
You know, just take it home and put it in your bin. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
I mean, that sounds really old-fashioned, I guess. I don't know really where that's coming from, but I mean, when we were at school, I don't know if it was the same for you, but there were literally Keep Britain Tidy campaigns. Maybe it's come into my brain through that route. I don't know, but that whole thing, we were doing litter picks all over the place.
That's as it gives people jobs.
Yeah, but that whole thing about put more bins out then, and
every time my son borrows the car, he comes back stinking like a filthy ashtray.
Yeah. So yeah, littering does my head in. It's not good for anybody or anything.
It's not, and I feel really strongly about this. I do. I genuinely feel really strongly about it, and I've said before that there needs to be a campaign of demonisation of
Very
litterers.
So, yeah.
We need to start making or something needs to be done to make the public feel towards litterers the same way that they feel towards murderers, the highest, the Savills of this world.
It's going to have to go quite a long way.
Can you imagine how many?
Isn't there, the littering?
It wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be easy to make people feel that level of contempt.
It'd be difficult as well, wouldn't it? Because, can you imagine how many BBC presenters would be in the dock? It'd be just like, there's evidence that a BBC presenter littered 8 years ago.
Yeah.
they'd be hunting them down,
Slow motion footage of Simon Cowell tossing a receipt from his pocket.
And then everybody would just be like, everyone would be just like, how dare they do that? Get her in prison.
I'll make sure you never work in TV again.
There'd be graffiti on their houses and everything. Litterer.
But yeah, you're right. The letter L painted in black on the front door.
So littering, bullying, they've got to go. What else did I say? I can't remember now. It means that much.
You didn't. It was
I did. Was it those two things? Those are good things. I just think like people. It's about respect, isn't it? And I don't know. Again, I think it's a cultural level thing. Like going back to littering, I've seen people confront people because they've just dropped a lot of stuff, and they've turned around and just gone and just absolutely in that person's face.
I've confronted people for it.
It's almost, but it's almost results in a fight, and that's not. People don't want to confront.
What did you say to them? Was it really sarky?
It was. Yeah, I picked it up. And I went behind them and said, "Excuse me, you dropped this." And they took it.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't stab you?
They didn't stab me.
Oh, cool.
No. I dare say they dropped it 2 minutes later.
Yeah, they were looking around the shoulder to see if you were still there.
But, I probably have the added advantage of being sort of 6'2", 6'3", so it's probably they're less inclined to start an argument.
Yeah.
But
it's another good reason to dress as a henchman. You can go around scaring litterers.
I do. Yes, I do. I love people who confront people. I mean, I always tell people not to do it because it is dangerous, and you never know what kind of lunatic you're going to be confronting.
Yeah.
But I remember once I went to see Steve Coogan in the Manchester Palace Theatre in Manchester, and these lads came in, and this was back in the day when you could smoke, but you couldn't smoke in this theatre, if I remember rightly. Anyway, these group of lads came in and they looked like a pack of opal fruits, all with the Ben Sherman shirts, different colours. And they were just, one of them was smoking away happily, and this woman who was sort of 5'0" came over, and this guy was big, and she sort of confronted him and she said, "Excuse me, this is a non-smoking theatre and you need to put that out." And he was so arrogant, this guy, he took a big kind of pull on his cigarette and he just blew the smoke in her face. I was like, oh my God, that's such an act of hostility. Yeah. And if she did, she ripped the cigarette out of his hand and stubbed it out on his chest.
Oh, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. What did he do?
He didn't do anything.
That's great, that is. But could you imagine a world where that isn't, well, not that specific thing.
She'd be a great leader.
Yeah, yeah. Wait a minute, she's in the cabinet, okay? No, can you imagine a world where that word confrontation scares anybody? I think it scares a lot of people, and that's why people. That's how you get sort of bystander apathy, all that stuff, isn't it? Right? Confrontation.
Yeah.
If you change that mindset, it's not a confrontation. But everybody was of that same mindset. So culturally, if we were in that place, somebody drops some litter, and somebody went and said, "Excuse me, you've dropped this litter," and they went, "Oh, so I have." my bad. Sorry about that.
A bit like you were saying about Copenhagen, that if somebody dropped some litter in Copenhagen, the chances are it probably would have been a mistake because they're all in it together.
That's right, yeah. And they might say, "Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, you're right."
Are they the Borg?
Also, I understand it's illegal in Singapore to drop litter. It's illegal.
And chewing gum, isn't
And
it?
chewing gum. You can't even have chewing gum, can you?
Punishable by what?
I don't know how harshly it's punished, but
Badly cooked Asian food. Which was one of my the things I was ranting on about last time.
So in Singapore, it's illegal to
drop litter,
but it's not illegal in Copenhagen. They just don't do it.
Yeah, they just don't do it. Yeah,
because they care too much.
Because they care.
Right.
Do they care too much though? Rob?
So what are you what are you going to do? You're going to make it illegal to drop litter?
Yeah, why not? Let's do
Punishable by what?
Oh, everything or whatever. It's a sliding. Well, it can't. Is it a sliding scale? I don't know.
I would say
I'm not great
by picking up litter, but in your world there shouldn't be a lot of it, so it wouldn't be much of a punishment.
They've got to find the litter
How about
there is.
public humiliation? When we stand them up somewhere and throw fag ends and
throw litter at them.
Meal deal wrappers at
This
them.
is a bit Game of Thrones.
He's changed his tune from last week.
Yeah, exactly. You said you were a lefty. I remember the words. But yeah, it's a little bit Game of Thrones, isn't it? That, but there's got to be something that first of all deters, but also the cultural side of it. How long does it take to make that cultural change and to have everybody believe that it's wrong to put litter?
This is the problem when people say the punishment should fit the crime.
Yeah,
because the nature of the crime, its severity is subjective, really.
It is, yeah.
Because to me, littering really is. It's up there, man.
Yeah. So it's also about redefining the severity of those crimes and therefore the punishment that goes with it. And if you're saying dropping litter is absolutely no, it's up there with murder, right?
Yeah.
You got to roll that out through the schools. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I've just Googled it, Carl, and in Singapore, I don't want to stay on the subject of littering infinitely, but. As I say, it's a subject very close to my heart.
Yeah. I mean, we have got 2 hours of this. No, carry on.
In Singapore, if you litter and you're caught littering, on your first offence, you can be fined up to $1,000, and you are invariably fined. In a lot of other countries, these laws exist, but they're very lightly implemented or enforced. And in Singapore, for your second offence, you can be fined up to $2,000, and you can also be made subject to community work order or something like that. It's called basically community service, where you have to pick up litter. So that seems to have quite a strong impact on the levels of littering, because it's something that they take seriously, and and this is kind of what I was saying. They come to think of people who litter as being in the same league as Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. And
I think we can all agree that Jimmy Savile should have at least been fined at least £1,000
for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, and
for violating corpses.
Oh God, it's gone dark in here. What's going on? And you also mentioned there that there aren't that many people who have been caught littering in Singapore. Possibly because they simply just don't do it.
Exactly.
They don't do it.
That's what I mean.
So that's enforced, but you wonder just you just wonder how that enforcement has turned into a cultural acknowledgement that this is something we just don't do.
It's learned behaviour.
Yeah. The negative sort of reinforcement.
I would imagine, first and foremost, they don't want to pay £1,000 fine.
Yeah.
That's probably the first thing. But it becomes such a matter of routine that you kind of probably forget about the fine, and it just becomes an automatic thing.
Behaviour, yeah.
There's, what was that? Is it Benham's Octo? There's a prison that was designed so that you could be seen everywhere, right? Every prisoner believed that they were being watched from every angle, so they constantly behaved, but they weren't being watched, but in the end, the good behaviour became natural because it was something that they just didn't do. They just didn't do the bad behaviour because they internalised.
Okay.
They internalised the principles of the prison as their own. So you behave like it initially because it's a rule.
Yeah.
And if you do it enough, it just becomes your own natural behaviour.
It becomes the way.
Yeah.
And we're all like that to an extent.
Absolutely, it is.
We all kind of curb our own behaviour to some extent, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have to, don't we? I mean, even if we're driving, you have to drive within the limits because, if you drive too fast, you might get a fine.
I do know some roads where you.
Yeah. Just pass us that list, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just becomes what you think of as being natural.
Yeah.
But it's just enforced behaviour. So there we go. So littering. We agree, we detest it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mentioned bullying.
Bullying,
obviously,
we detest it.
Yeah. Is that enough for now? Yeah.
On that score.
Education? No, what do you want to...
Yeah, so at the moment, I was talking to somebody the other day about this. They surprisingly had very little knowledge of the whole kind of public school system, Eton to Oxford to Westminster kind of thing, which is a recognised route, I think. Are you going to give it the old switcheroo and get rid of that? The public schools, private schools, are we all on the same level?
I think so. I mean, I think so.
Are your kids going to school with Sting's kids?
No, because I don't know if Sting's kids are Welsh speakers, because mine go to Welsh medium schools. But I don't agree.
What's Welsh for Sting?
I'm sure my kids have told me that at some point. But but basically, I don't agree with that sort of hierarchical kind. That sort of what am I trying to say? That level where you
don't agree with privilege.
Privilege, exactly, and that route between sort of being born into a rich family, which allows you to go to the top tier school, which is a direct route to politics, or whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
And which allows those people who have had that kind of upbringing and that very different life experience to the rest of us, who now set those laws for people like us, and I genuinely, I mean, this is why I mentioned like the Tories at the beginning, because they govern this this country. They make rules and laws that we have to abide by, but they're totally out of the game and out of the loop.
I think that's really generous of you, Carl. You say govern as though they have the first clue what they're doing.
But I mean, in all but practice, they do, don't they? Really, and the stories of throughout COVID, for example, of contracts, multi-million-pound contracts being handed to friends of politicians and things like that. There is an absolutely clear imbalance of opportunity.
Wasn't it? Who's the one who went on Celebrity?
Oh God, Matt Hancock.
Wasn't it Hancock's local landlord?
Oh,
got a PPE contract, pub landlord.
Do you know what really what wound me up about that as well? When he went in the jungle, one of the first
Stayed
things.
there.
Yeah. One of the first things he said when one of the other celebs said, what are you doing here? And he said, I just want people to see the real me and to show that I am
Sean Walsh.
Was it? Yeah, and to show that the person behind the politician. I'm just like, you're a politician.
He says, with a couple of wires sticking up.
Yeah, but surely, if there's any job in the world to prove that you're a human being, it's a politician.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has every single day to do that very thing, to prove that he's a human being, that can treat human beings as such.
Yeah.
And he's failed to do it.
I want to show people the real me by hanging around in a pretend jungle eating camels' testicles.
Yeah, exactly. So that exactly, and that sort of route between sort of being born into a rich family, getting that whole sort of privilege, as you say, route one to position of power should not exist.
So the thing is, though, when they go to Eton and they go to Oxford, more specifically Eton, there's politics is drummed into them from an early age. We don't even teach politics in our schools.
We don't, exactly.
Do we not?
No.
Oh, okay.
There are certain things.
Well, you can do A-level. Politics A-level?
Yeah.
I think you can, yeah.
There's no such thing as a politics GCSE, though, is there?
But, it just suddenly appears, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, politics A-level just appears. It's not like throughout school up to that point you're made aware of what's going on. And I used to teach media studies, media and film. And it was a lot of theory in there. And things like censorship or, representation and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just kind of... I used to just try and get those kids to see behind the message, for example, and make your own mind up. Don't believe what you're fed by the media, and look at editors and look at the power that they have to feed you the agenda for the day and all of that stuff. And I genuinely, because I was immersed in that...
I do this with my kids and they look at me like I'm insane.
Yeah, when you try and explain to your kids that there's a producer behind that message, shut up, whatever,
This is boring.
Yeah, but when you're immersed in that, when I was teaching it and I was immersed in the whole thing, that was one of the most important things I could think of, was something like media literacy should be absolutely key to our curriculum.
Absolutely.
Media literacy. I think politics, but not like the dry sort of stuff, just an introduction to it, kids to understand why it is important to them and why it'll be more important as they get older.
Mr. Howarth, can we read Humpty Dumpty? Not today, Timmy. We're reading Das Kapital.
Yeah, and essentially what we need as well is a whole lead up to sort of in schools, so those kids understand why in the future they're going to vote for me. But I think, and the other thing about education as well is, have you heard of Ken Robinson? Do you know Ken Robinson?
I don't think so.
He's like he died.
Does he make pies?
No. He died a few years ago. But he was a really influential guy in the sort of shaping of curriculums or whatever, and curriculatums,
yes.
and looking at the education system slightly more creatively. And he said something that I thought was really important, which goes against the whole Eton, Oxford, all that stuff, right? He said that I'm going to get this wrong now, aren't I? What did he say? Can we cut a second while I remember this line? It was about IQ and measuring IQ.
Just edit it out.
Yeah, good. Yeah, edit this bit out because I had this. This is great. This. He said the question is, or the question should be, not how intelligent are we, but how are we intelligent?
Oh.
Right. So even in schools now,
I like that.
Yeah.
How intelligent? Not how. It's a bit like JFK. That's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Yeah. So
that's
it's not
how intelligent
yeah.
are we, but how are we intelligent?
Yeah, so it's not about measuring somebody's IQ and saying, well, they've got a high IQ, therefore they are intelligent. It's about how are they intelligent? Is it emotionally? Are they emotionally intelligent? Are they creative? Are they, there's a whole sort of raft of different ways to look at.
Are they really good at Street Fighter?
yeah, exactly. All of that. but I think that would open things up massively and give more people more opportunities to do the things that they're genuinely inherently good at. And he did a book called The Element, which was all about that idea that when you find the thing that you love, you feel like you're in your element. And this book is full of famous people who found their element. And there's one where there's like there's a famous dancer.
Like when people say, I'm in my element.
Say again?
When people say, I'm in my element.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I was meant to do. I was born to do. And there's a famous dancer who her parents thought that there was something wrong. She was like, she might have ADHD or something like that. She couldn't sit still. She was always on her feet, always moving. And
helps if you're a dancer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As a kid, they thought there was something wrong, so they took her to the doctor to diagnose her and assess her. And the doctor sort of said, right, to the parents, you two join me outside the room. The radio was on in the background or something. I think that was quite a convenient thing. But the radio was on. The three of them left. They left the girl in the room. This girl started dancing around the room, and the doctor just said, "There's nothing wrong with her. She just wants to be a dancer. Look." And they watched her, and it was like a massive moment. And
let's see her come boogie.
yeah. She was doing the robotics and everything. It was brilliant.
Let me see you two feather.
I think there should be a redefining of how we categorise people into various boxes. And
I agree. There's
definitely. I mean, I am classed as a fairly unconventional person. But
you?
Amazingly, I know, it's just bizarre, isn't it?
I'm just looking behind Rob now, and there's a skull on top of the speaker.
Yeah. There's also a xenomorph.
There's a xenomorph.
But I ain't no thickie.
Absolutely not, sir.
No, but I've not achieved things that they wanted me to achieve in school. So by their metrics, I'm a failure.
Yes,
absolutely, yeah.
But I am very content with my slightly crazy world.
I mean, I'm guessing we've all worked with people with learning disabilities. And is that right? You do, don't you? Or you
yes.
And me. Do, and me too. And in the medical book, they would define a learning disability of having an IQ. I think is it less than 70. Mm-hmm. That is officially the definition. So they use IQ in that respect, but we know that people with a learning disability doesn't mean that they don't have intelligence. They might be absolutely, people with autism are absolutely as good as you can get at their favourite subjects.
I mean, I've been working in that field for 20 years roughly now, and even in the time that I've been working in that area, I've seen huge progression. It's been fantastic. I went last night, funnily enough, to Newport Arts Centre, the Riverfront, I think, and it's the country's first learning disabled drag troupe.
Oh right,
absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing. Yeah, so there we go. That's education nailed, sorted.
Yes.
Moving on. You can't disagree with any of this, can you?
No, I don't want you to think that I'm seeking to disagree with you.
No.
If I disagree with you, I will tell you.
Yeah.
But I don't actively want to disagree with you.
No, there we are. Good.
So we're going to do away with public schools.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and if by chance the likes of Boris happen to reach top of the class and they get the job by virtue of their own merit, then so be it.
Absolutely.
We're all doomed. As God intended.
Level playing field. There it is. We got people speaking for people who have experience of life and all of that stuff. Real life speaking for other people who have to cope with real life.
Okay. Lovely. I like it. So, where are we going to go from here? We've talked about things that you're not going to allow. We've talked about something that you're going to introduce. I'm going to throw a spanner into the works now. It's a big question.
Oh, God.
You're not just in charge of this country, Cole.
Oh, okay.
It's a global revolution.
Yeah.
You're a world leader.
Great.
You're literally a world leader.
Yeah.
United States of America.
Yeah.
Good old Uncle Sam.
Okay.
And his bang bangs.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are we going to go?
Guns gone. All of them.
Guns gone.
All of them gone, yeah. Oh.
You might have another revolution on your hands.
Well, I'm going to squash that revolution. Yeah, I mean, I would.
Simple
I mean,
as that.
Yeah, they'd have to. I mean, I don't know the mechanisms behind it, but guns would have to go because, the whole thing about.
You know what they're scared of? The
Rifle Association, isn't it?
It's the rifle, the NRA, and I think people are scared of the illegal guns.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, everything goes underground then, doesn't it?
There are guns in this country. Somebody got shot with a submachine gun in this country recently.
Right.
No, an automatic, semi-automatic.
It's kind of rare, though. To be
it's
fair.
rare, but it happens.
It does.
Mm. I mean, if you compare, like, I know that shootings happen in the UK. I know it happens, but not to the level that it does in the States, and where guns are freely available. And you can walk into a supermarket and buy a box of bullets and stuff. That just doesn't compute with me,
Normally in the UK, and historically, it's been like a one-round rifle.
Shotguns.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
So they...
I mean,
there's time to apprehend. Whereas if somebody's firing off 500 rounds per minute.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that I'm going to throw a spanner into the works as well, into my own argument here, because over here, a lot of farmers have guns, don't they? They but yeah, we don't need guns, do we? We don't need guns. What do we need them for? The only thing
War.
you can do with a gun.
What is?
Yeah, I mean, it's to hurt people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to two people recently. One's Greek and one is a Turkish Cypriot, and she said, yeah, the Turkish Cypriots are all fucking nuts. These are their words, not mine, because they all carry guns, but they don't generally shoot each other with them. They use them. They used to exuberantly fire in the air to express either displeasure or great joy.
So like honking a horn.
Yeah, we'll just get some. Yeah, exactly. We'll just get clown horns.
Like that. Or occasionally, if you're really cross, you would shoot next to somebody's feet on the floor.
Yeah.
But they had to do an education campaign.
Sort of Marty McFly style.
That sort of thing. Yeah, but they had to do an education campaign because there was lots of shooting in the air and then the bullets fall back down and land on people. And they
fireworks.
And they get hurt. So, and now they don't shoot in the air so much, but they've still all got guns.
Yeah.
Less contagiously, fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What
you a dog owner?
I'm not a dog owner, but I do understand the issues there. I think maybe...
but as I say, I'm not a dog owner, so whatever.
yeah. More fireworks, please.
More fireworks, less dogs.
The thing is, though, fireworks have changed, haven't they? They've changed.
Yeah.
Because now they're more like... They're almost like drone displays now, aren't they? You can get...
Well, they're not almost like drone displays. There are drone displays.
Yeah, which look amazing.
And there are silent fireworks.
Yeah. There you go. There you are,
yes, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, how do they work? Just out of interest?
They just, yeah.
Are they lights on a string?
Silent fireworks. They've
Yeah.
just got no bang in them.
Okay.
They're just the lights.
Okay.
It's hard to imagine. I mean, but if they do the job, if people enjoy that as an alternative.
Internally, I'm really questioning myself now. Frantically running through the Google of my mind.
Yeah. Have they got quiet fireworks? Anyway, yeah. So yeah. I mean,
if they haven't, patent it.
Yeah. I mean, I fireworks. I know the issues with pets and stuff like that, but if there is an alternative like quiet fireworks or drone displays, then
at the end of the day, though, explosions are cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame about the dogs.
Yeah.
I must.
You must be able to get fireworks. Sparklers don't bang. Catherine wheels don't bang.
They whistle, don't they? Menacingly.
Deliberately.
Menacingly.
And the other ones.
That's
Roman
intentional,
candles.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not
I guess so. Yeah.
But we're talking about the big ones that go up into the sky and.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think they lack drama.
How about you put a windfall tax on firework companies? which then pays for ear defenders for dogs.
Would they wear them?
They would if they were. They would if they were scared of fireworks.
I'm going to have to do a questionnaire for dogs now.
Hang on, gobshite alert. It's not possible for a firework to be silent due to the noise produced by the lift charge and the explosion of the shell in the air. All fireworks, even silent fireworks, will make some noise when the lift charge fires, but low noise fireworks will not have any loud bangs when the effect bursts in the sky.
That's all right then. Yeah, low noise fireworks. Let's go for those. Yeah.
You'll get that.
And then yeah, you know.
Maybe not ban all guns then. If we're going to go with low noise fireworks, let people have guns that have those flags that come out.
Yeah.
Low death guns.
Clown guns.
That say bang.
Yeah.
All those ones that fired a piece of a potato at you.
Yeah, potato guns.
Spud gun, yeah.
They'd be allowed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't ban them, would
Imagine
you?
a spud machine gun. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? You know, but
Bugsy Malone territory.
Yeah, but like
guns.
yeah, I just think let's make things a bit safer and a bit more friendly.
Okay.
You know, for dogs.
I like it.
Yeah. You know,
are people staying in school for the same length of time?
that's a good question, that, because very topical as well. I mean, related to that is the they're looking at the structure of the academic year as of next year. So they're talking about maybe making the summer break shorter, you know, that sort of thing. I think school's a good thing. Education is a great thing. You know, and I think there's a legal obligation, isn't there, for local authorities to fund or at least make education available to people up to the age of 19. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
That is right.
So you know, I think that's going to be a good thing, and I think.
Do you like the way I say everything with authority? You don't have a clue what about the validity.
He's making it up.
I'm sure that is the case.
That is 100% correct.
Yes. Yeah, you have to go fact check this whole thing.
I
Yeah.
won't bother. Nobody else will.
Yeah. I think education is a good thing. I just think the curriculum needs a little bit of addition. I think it needs to be a bit more creative. I think we need to redefine what intelligence is, but also give people more options. I think
the quote, isn't there, about you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree,
but you can make it drink. No, something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think fish don't drink.
Sorry. Fish.
You can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree.
Yeah,
But that's
right,
very
yeah.
true, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can judge its ability to climb trees, but that's the point we're making.
Yeah, that
There's
is
lots, lots of good fish sayings.
it's like
Fish
you,
can climb trees.
like your girl who was a dancer.
Yeah.
Said, she's shit at maths. She'll
Yeah, she
never be
might be,
anything.
yeah.
She'll never be a mathematician or a bank clerk. But
Yeah.
she could be a very good dancer.
Do you know what I asked my kids today about this whole question? You know, I told you I've lost sleep over this whole thing. And when I asked my kids what would they do, would you do anything different about school? Nell's my eldest.
They're in next week, by the way.
Yeah. So she was just saying, yeah, can we just not learn things that we're never going to need, like angles and algebra?
Stupid
I said,
angles.
You might well need angles, actually.
I've had this with mine too.
Yeah.
Some of it has been largely indefensible.
Yeah, I learned a load of stuff in school that I like drawing the intersections of two pipes.
Yeah.
On a big drawing board and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they thought I was going to do.
I say to my kids though, and I stand by this, that they're not judging you on your ability to draw intersections of two pipes. They're judging you on your ability to learn.
And comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they never said that at the time.
Yeah.
So it's all falling into place.
Now, if my kid was smarter, he would have said, "Well, why don't they judge me on my ability to learn something that I could actually use?"
That's right.
But he didn't.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and it's like,
Which is why he's going to be working in Top Man
yeah, yeah. So it's
in
yeah.
a nice suit.
So yeah, I think we've got it sewn up with the education, definitely, and
Okay.
sort of equality for everybody to make the most of what they want in life.
One question I asked Rob last week was, what do you do with repeat offenders? So people who persistently refuse to cooperate, break the law, they're just they're a burden to society. They're not helping you. Then they're bringing nothing to the table.
Mm. Well, they're human beings, aren't they? And this is the this is where you can't sort of use a policy to sort of an overarching policy, because people are different, and I think like when it comes to people like that,
not in Copenhagen, they're not.
They're all part of a team. Where is this going? It's really hard, isn't it? Because
do we need a penal system, reformation, rehabilitation?
Rehabilitation and stuff. I mean, you know, and again, let's just say
for me, can I just say that the problem I have with the term rehabilitation is the re part. It suggests that the person was habilitated in the first place.
I think like
because a lot of people who are like this, they come from such dysfunctional background and through no fault of their own.
I was just about to say this,
but their idea of normal is so far removed from your idea of normal.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, you know, part of
to them, you're the one in the wrong. You've got it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and you know, it's exactly that. And again, in work mode, I have experience of that as well, of kids who have had the worst possible starts in life. You know, you know, you read their profiles and it's absolutely nightmarish and horrific, and that child has had no start in life.
Yeah.
You can only applaud them when they break out of that cycle and make something of themselves, and you know, they take that on and
I agree with you. I mean, all jokes aside, I am very kind of flippant about these things, but all jokes aside, I do think for people who are kind of maladjusted and don't function well in society, I think rather than being punished, society needs to work twice as hard to sort of turn them round.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, we're all different, and I don't want to make everybody the same, but it would be nice for everybody to care about their society and to care about their community. Absolutely. And if we could all do that, the world would be a much better place.
I think that's something that we probably all learn through our work that we do.
Yeah.
I think as we get older as well, and we have a bit of more of an understanding of the bigger picture.
It's certainly true for me. I mean, I was a right tearaway as a youngster, and sort of go through university and then doing the work that I do. My whole worldview, my whole mindset is that, you know, if me and the sort of 15-year-old me were to meet, not only would it be weird because I'm 51 and he's 15, but we'd have nothing in common, except maybe a fondness for Joni Mitchell. That would be it. Anyway, I think that's it.
Okay. I don't know if I've changed the world that much, actually. I think I've just tweaked it.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I mean, human nature is still very much what it is, regardless of there having been a revolution.
I was gonna be quite harsh. I wanted to. The harsh side of me was like, what would I outlaw?
Is that why you brought the ban?
Yeah, this is a bit now where I all these guitars. You know, just gonna, no, I was wondering whether to. And this is me being really harsh now, right? So don't judge me on this. But I really did think, shall we ban the aubergine?
What, the aubergine emoticon, or the
actual
vegetable?
vegetable.
Yeah.
Oh, please don't.
I know that. Well, exactly. This is the problem.
They're delicious.
Well,
when cooked properly.
Well,
I'll make you an aubergine curry, and I'll bring it over to you, and that'll.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could look at it.
What about
why?
I don't like aubergines. I just don't like them.
Parmigiana? Marvellous.
Say again.
Parmigiana.
Bless you. But yeah, no. Then I went back on that and thought, you know, even suggesting banning the aubergine. Well, I say even. Look at the response in the room. You just wouldn't go for it. I'd be out.
Outrage.
I'd be out before my 20 years are up.
Yeah, you would.
You know, I can't. And other people enjoy it. Why? You know, again, it'd go against all the things I've said about.
I'm glad you've retracted that, because I was just on the verge of making my decision as to whether to let you rule or stage a coup. And
yeah. So
that could have swung things.
So I think what I've learned from that is I'll also have opinions that I'll need to go against on behalf of the, you know, for the good of the people.
That is a politician. That's the kind of politician we want. The kind of politician that can say, I was wrong, I made a mistake. We're going to do it your way.
Yeah, we're going to keep aubergines.
Yeah. Col Howarth, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to allow you to rule.
Thank you.
You
had no choice. So it was no. I was stepping in there, but no.
I don't. I'm not a complete advocate of everything you've said.
Okay.
And I would have liked to have seen you be a bit tougher in certain areas, but you're a nice guy, and I think your heart is in the right place, and I think that's a fine place to start from in the
absolutely
Brave New World.
And coherent arguments too.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
Right, shall we go out and beat up some litterers?
Let's do it.
I'll don my henchman's out.
Oh yeah. Take your skull.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks very much.